What's going on? How's everybody doing? What's up, family? What's up with y'all today? I hope everybody enjoyed their day today, man. Just want to we wanted to come on here and get the day started with a little bit of commentary. Got my voice back. You know what I'm saying? Got my voice back and stuff like that. So everything's all good again. If you know what I'm saying. But the R. Kelly situation, once again, we're gonna talk about this once again. As we get closer to trial, it seems like, man, to be honest, man, it seems like as we get closer to trial, people are starting more and more foolishness. At least from what it seems. The people that are, for some strange reason, so invested in R. Kelly receiving a guilty verdict are just saying anything out their mouth, reading documents and can't even read them right, sitting here saying that the lawyers is getting caught in lies when that clearly is not what was read on the paper. People are trying to push this narrative, this conflict crap, all because at the time, Azriel Clary was, I don't know, I guess either she was with R. Kelly still, or she was just claiming to be with R. Kelly still. You know, her actual motives will come out eventually. The whole story will come out eventually, everybody. And they're trying to push this narrative that there's a conflict of interest with Nicole because she was talking to Azriel at the time of Azriel being with R. Kelly. Not mentioning that she was talking to Joycelyn as well. I mean, because is it really that odd? Is that considered odd behavior for a girlfriend of a man that's being accused of a crime, who's in federal custody, to be associating or conversing with her man's attorney? Is that really odd behavior? Is that really strange behavior? Now, if you want to say that, oh, it's obvious and proven that they was communicating after the fact, after the fact when Azriel was still visiting, if you ask me, you know what, because I ain't even got time to be sugarcoating and beating around the bush on nothing, man. If you ask me, the real conflict of interest has come from the federal government, man. From my point of view, it seems like they're the ones that's pushing, this doing these conflict of interest. For the simple fact that they had somebody that was an informant for them still visiting R. Kelly in prison, or in custody, whatever you want to call it, recording him. It's just so much dirty stuff, man. They know that having a female attorney representing R. Kelly, especially a female attorney with the background that Nicole Becker has, is the obvious better choice to represent R. Kelly in this case. It's the obvious better choice, especially with today's climate. I mean, it really is the best choice, and they know that. So now here it is, 2 years has passed. Nicole pretty much came on the attorney's team, on his team, but it didn't take long before she joined the team. So let's just say almost 2 years. Nothing about no conflict was spoke about. However, R. Kelly wants her to be the lead attorney. And now, all of a sudden, there's this conflict of interest. Man, these people gotta stop playing with me, man. They gotta stop playing, man. Y'all really do. It's not even. It ain't even cool no more, man. It never was. You know what I'm saying? I know that a lot of people might not look at this as a big deal, and they swear R. Kelly is guilty because they've been told that for 30 years. And then, more animately, they've been told that lately by this climate, this climate in today's society that pretty much puts all men at a disadvantage, man. It's got pretty much all men backed up in a corner, man. Because you just don't know. You just don't know. And I think it's time that people stop with this nonsense, man. Stop with this nonsense. Stop pushing these narratives. Let that man get his fair trial. Everybody want to talk about this sequestered jury, and people are trying to hold a protest so that they can taint the jury and all that, but nobody is saying on that side about how the mainstream media has contributed to tainting a jury for 2 years straight. Really 30 years, actually. 30 years. They have tainted the jury, if you ask me. Pushing these narratives. Calling this man a pedophile in the mainstream media. Bringing in body language experts on CNN and on CBS and on pretty much all the major news networks. Body language experts. I just don't get it, everybody. I don't get why people cannot see that this is a situation where you have corporate America once again taking advantage of an African American man who has busted his you-know-what for 30 years, making them so much money, at least over $1 billion. It has to be, when you think about all he's done in this music business. Because think about it. If he's supposed to be worth $750 million to $900 million, what do you think the labels have made off of him? Think about that. And of course, they just can't give this man his generational wealth. They just can't do it. So they got these brothers working together, coming out with this docuseries, this BBC documentary, I should say, allegedly. You got Vivendi, who owns Universal, using 2 of their production companies, Creative Incorporated and Boonham and I can't even think of the other dude's name right now. It'll come to me. But 2 of their production companies working on surviving R. Kelly. I mean, these are the conflict of interest. Not no Nicole. Attorney Nicole, I'm sorry. MTV, everybody, as we know, is a very, has been accused of being a racist network. Especially more when they first started back in the early 80s, until Michael Jackson's Thriller album came out. Then they had no choice but to play an African American artist, because that was and still is to this day the most successful album of all time. Rest in peace to Michael Jackson. But they was the first ones to air that forged marriage certificate on their network without doing any type of fact checking No type of investigation on it, none of that. And you can clearly see the blemishes around the signatures and around the numbers and around the names. And I mean, David Orr's name is not even at the top of the document. I mean, it's just crazy. And they didn't, it's like they have pushed this narrative. They've pushed this narrative. And they're still pushing it. When they know darn well that that forged document is not would not be considered a legal, legit document in no court in America. It's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, man. So MTV, not only did they show that forged document, that forged marriage certificate, that Demetrius Smith has admitted to forging, basically. A criminal who was also admitted to stealing from R. Kelly, who also was fired by R. Kelly, who also is the one that took Tiffany Hawkins to Susan Loggins. I mean, how much crime and foul play has been done against R. Kelly that nobody wants to address in mainstream media, that is. MTV gave that Surviving R. Kelly docuseries an award. They gave them an award, everybody. When these women on that docuseries, I mean, did they do any type of research at all? Did they see if any of that was true? Because if you pull up all of those women on that docuseries, their story changes on every interview they do. Something in their story changes. Just like Jim Derogatis. And the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries, just about all the catch points and the narratives that those women from Me Too and all those so-called professionals with credentials, all the narratives they pumped on that Surviving R. Kelly came from articles written by Jim Derogatis over the past 25 to 30 years. A man who received child pornography, according to him and according to the state of Illinois in 2008 or 2002 when they indicted R. Kelly, he received child pornography at his house. Somebody first sent a tape in 2001 to the Chicago Sun-Times. Instead of giving it right to the authorities, they watched the damn tape. Then you got somebody a year later, when that didn't work, they get the tape, they modify it, they add something to it, they chop it up, and now they got so bold where they put it in Jim Derogatis' mailbox at his house. Child pornography, everybody. And he claims that within hours they took it to the police. Well, he had to watch the tape. Allegedly, he made a copy of the tape. He had to drive to the Chicago Sun-Times in Chicago traffic. Him and his colleagues and his bosses had to watch the tape. He had to call Sparkle. She had to come down to the Chicago Sun-Times and view the tape. And he just magically just knew that Sparkle was who he needed to call. Because let's not forget, everybody, the conversation that he says he had with Sparkle in 1999. The same year that her and R. Kelly had a very bad fallout with each other. So now Jim Derogatis speaks to Sparkle. Who knows what that conversation was truly about.
Yes, ESP, right?
Right.
Extrasensory perception.
He must have it. He must have that. 1999. Who
He just
knows?
knew to call Sparkle.
Right. Well, that's because, in my opinion, so I'm gonna say allegedly, everybody. If you just look at how this played out, you got a situation where you got Jim Derogatis, you got Sparkle, you got Barry Hankerson, you got Lisa Van Allen, you got Demetrius Smith, and you got those other two talent, the group talent, all involved with a plot to extort R. Kelly for money. Allegedly.
Without any remorse.
Without any remorse at all. Think about it. 1999, Sparkle and Jim Derogatis has this conversation, and like I said, who knows what it really was about. 2000, now Barry Hankerson sends a letter to the Chicago Sun-Times magically. 2000, after he was just now fired as well. Okay. 2001, now Jim Derogatis receives an anonymous fax, which I believe it came from Sparkle. Everybody, that's who I believe sent the fax.
Right.
That's just my opinion, though. That's our opinion, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
So 2001, he gets that fax. No, I'm sorry. Late 2000, he got the fax. And he publishes this story about, R. Kelly, this sex crime story or whatever. Slandering that man's name. 2001 comes about. Here comes this first sex tape. The authorities investigate it. They don't find no foul play, no crimes with the tape. So then a year later, like I said, they went and we had to go redo this. We got to redo this, everybody. Now they send another tape a year later with clips from the first tape on that tape. And I guess a new scene with a so-called 14-year-old girl. But I'm trying to tell you something. Everybody that has seen the tape back then has said that no 14-year-old is moving like that. It was not a 14-year-old on that tape. And that's why R. Kelly was acquitted as well. The jury could not determine the age of the woman on the tape. So where this obstruction of justice nonsense came from, once again, that's another narrative that was pushed on surviving R. Kelly, and the federal government ran with it. And they want to push all these narratives. Oh, he ain't got no money because he pushed out so many settlements. Really? Really? Did he really push out that many settlements, y'all? Let's see. Tiffany Hawkins says that she was working with him from 91 to 94. She was 15 in 1991. R. Kelly hadn't even become a star yet. Okay? But, he could have been working on his first project. I think he had won the talent show and he probably got signed. Yeah, who knows? But 94, she says she stops working with him at 18. Right? Aaliyah comes out. Next thing you know, that forged marriage certificate hits the streets thanks to Vibe and MTV. And then 2 years later, Tiffany Hawkins remembers or gets the courage or gets the idea or whatever the case may be to say, you know what, R. Kelly, you slept with me too when I was 15 back in 1991. But, it's already been found out that Demetrius Smith is the one that encouraged that woman to go to Susan Loggins. And we all know Demetrius Smith is a criminal, has a major criminal record. He's admitted to stealing from R. Kelly. He's admitted that he was the one that got the forged documents, for the so-called marriage between R. Kelly and Aaliyah. And not to mention he had a real bad crack cocaine problem. I mean, these are all character traits that says to me, uncredible. Not credible, I'm sorry. Not credible. That's what that says to me. You know? Oh, and let's not forget he was fired. He had just been fired. So you got these are two people here that have something in common. Demetrius Smith just now gets fired. Tiffany Hawkins just now gets dropped from working with R. Kelly, so to speak. And now they get this bright idea to go to Susan Loggins and to sue him. They tried to sue him for $10 million. Okay, $10 million for what? What made that woman think she deserved $10 million? Now, R. Kelly put in a countersuit saying that she was trying to blackmail him, saying that she said give her $30,000 originally, or I'm going to go public saying that you're the father of my child, which is real telling. See, that's probably why the labels and R. Kelly stopped dealing with her, because she probably got pregnant, and then there goes her career. It hindered her career from moving forward. Now, that's alleged. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a theory. You know what I'm saying, everybody? That's just a theory. But anyhow, you got them suing. And you know what's really crazy? Jim DeRogatis, in his book, says that Tiffany Hawkins had her witnesses in her suit that she was in her civil case that was going to testify on her behalf was Aaliyah, which we know that's not true because Tiffany Hawkins and her lawyer was trying to use the marriage certificate for the case. And Aaliyah, if she was trying to help Tiffany Hawkins, why would she be going to the courts in 1997 to try to make sure that was expunged off the records? If she was trying to help Tiffany Hawkins. So we know that that's a lie. We know Aaliyah was not trying to help her. Then he said Barry Hankerson was one of the witnesses. However, he said Barry Hankerson, she also was suing him as well. And Jive Records. Now, why would Barry Hankerson be a witness and testify against himself to help Tiffany Hawkins? Does that make sense, everybody?
No.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Yes, right.
And see, and these are the type of little narratives and games that Jim DeRogatis has been playing. And I'm telling you, that man needs to be held accountable for this. You know? They said that Wayne Williams, who was an A&R at Jive at the time, was supposed to be a witness for her. That was a lie. That was a lie. The only people that she had that probably was going to be her witness was Demetrius Smith, disgruntled employee, ex-disgruntled employee who is a thief, stole from R. Kelly, got fired. Now he has a grudge. Okay? Then you got her friends, Javante Cunningham, as if and some other woman, as if they're not going to try to help her out and say, yeah, R. Kelly did do this. Matter of fact, one of the friends said that he slept with her too. Well, then why didn't she sue R. Kelly? If she slept with him as when she was a minor along with Tiffany Hawkins, why didn't she sue him? That tells you that it's all BS, everybody. It's a lie. Okay? Lies on top of lies. So anyhow, you get Tiffany Hawkins. They settled with her in 1998. That was the first mistake that R. Kelly was advised on. But who knows? He might not have been advised. Who knows? But they settled that, you know what I'm saying, in 1998. But think about this, everybody. Why didn't more come forward right after that? You would think that if Tiffany Hawkins gets sued, let me start over here. If Tiffany Hawkins sues R. Kelly and gets a settlement for $250,000 in 1998, you would think that a lot of other women would jump on that, right? Like they did eventually, right? Well, the problem with that is nobody knew about it. That's because it was a non-disclosure agreement. Now, the problem is Jim DeRogatis, once again, it was always him. This whistleblower. He was always the whistleblower to basically throw that advertisement out there saying, look, R. Kelly paid this. R. Kelly is doing this. it's alleged that R. Kelly did this, and this is what was bringing these women forward to sue this man, trying to get money. Here it is in 2000. He writes that bogus crime article or whatever. He considers it the first published crime story or whatever he named the article, which in that article he reveals about the lawsuit with Tiffany Hawkins and R. Kelly, and he downplayed R. Kelly's countersuit, and what R. Kelly said Tiffany Hawkins tried to do. He downplayed that, but he sensationalized Tiffany Hawkins' lawsuit. You see what I'm saying, everybody? So that was the whistle. That was the dog whistle, letting Tracy Sampson know, who now we know she claims she started sleeping with him in 2000, which was when she was 18. And then she stopped sleeping with him in 2001. She knows that Tiffany Hawkins received $250,000 because of Jim Derogatis doing that article. Okay? She knows that. And now we got the first sex tape comes out that was investigated, and there was no foul play in it. No crime in it. No indictment for that one. So she stops, according to her, everybody, she's no longer dealing with R. Kelly, and what does she do? She goes right to Susan Loggins and sues R. Kelly, saying that he was sleeping with her when she was 17. But we know that's not true. Not if she started dealing with him in 2000. Ain't no way. There's no way it can be true. There's no way it can be true. We've already proved that. So you see, everybody, every time there was a scandal, you had one of these women coming forward to sue him. And not only did they, and it's not just they came forward, they went to Susan Loggins, which is a pattern. That's a major pattern here. And then you got R. Kelly's representatives paying off these people $250,000, making them sign non-disclosure agreements. It is just it was a sick, and it was a, man, this cycle has really damaged R. Kelly in the long run. He was advised wrong. He was advised wrong. Whoever was responsible for handling this man's business affairs while he's constantly in the studio making hit after hit after hit, they was making the wrong decisions. And now he has to pay for this. But it will all come out. It will all come out. Now, Jim Derogatis in 2017. See, they want to say that R. Kelly has been doing this for 30 years. But when you really think about it, he really hasn't at all. There's not much that has been said other than the Aaliyah so-called marriage, which we know that was a forged document. There's no way it would be a legit document in any courtroom in America. There's no way that could have been a legit document. It's clearly a forgery. It's clearly. Ain't no court's going to submit that. There wasn't no marriage. There's no way it could have been. Now you got the sex tape, the first one, right? Then they redid the second tape that had clips from the first tape in it. And that's the one he got indicted on. However, he was acquitted in 2008. After that, what do they have? What do they have? It took 9 years after that. 9 years after that. And then Jim Derogatis, once again, that same little snake that's been after R. Kelly all his career, comes in 2017 and writes a bogus sex cult article for Buzzfeed. Has not recanted anything, even though the women have constantly said Jocelyn Savage was caught in public on a regular basis and constantly kept saying that it's not true. She's happy, she's fine, she's not being held against her will, she's not in no sex cult. There has been no evidence to prove that statement or that narrative, I should say. But yet, he has not been held responsible for that either. And you know what's terrible, everybody? He wrote that article for Buzzfeed, right? And in August 2015, however, NBC Universal made a $200 million equity investment in Buzzfeed, along with plans to hire more journalists to build a more prominent investigative unit. Now we see what this is really about. Because NBC, the same NBC, you know, that whole Bill Cosby thing. And then you got Universal. So you got NBC and Universal with a joint partnership in this company. Universal is the same Universal that owns most of R. Kelly's publishing. So now, not only is Universal connected to the surviving R. Kelly, but now they're connected to Buzzfeed, the same company that Jim Derogatis was working for and that wrote that sex cult article that initially got the Me Too movement up and running on R. Kelly. And they got Mute R. Kelly was formed because of that article. I mean, this is crazy. NBC Universal invested an additional $200 million in 2016. So $400 million NBC Universal invested in Buzzfeed within 2 years. I mean, 1 year. I'm sorry. 1 year. Kenneth Lehrer, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, is co-founder and chairman of the Huffington Post. Remember them? And he started as a co-founder and investor in Buzzfeed and is now Buzzfeed's executive chairman. So there's a connection between the Huffington Post and Buzzfeed. And of course, who would advise R. Kelly to go do that interview on the Huffington Post when one of their focuses is women's interests? And they take R. Kelly, somebody with a past of allegations, to do an interview there? Who was advising this man? Is what I want to know. Who was setting up these interviews? Who was managing this man? In September, now here's the thing, everybody. This is the kicker right here. In September 2018, CBS, the same CBS that Gayle King works for and did that interview with R. Kelly, and basically interviewed him as if he was a guilty man for the national world to see. I mean, for the nation to see, and the world for that matter. CBS in September 2018 announced that they would be donating $20 million to the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement. So why would they allow R. Kelly to go do an interview with CBS when they are in when they're what's the word I'm looking for? They're supporters. They're supporters of the Me Too movement. They invested in, or donated to the Me Too movement, I should say. And they sent R. Kelly to do an interview, and they thought that R. Kelly was going to be able to tell his side of the story on CBS's network? Wow. Man. This is ridiculous, everybody. It's ridiculous. January 2015, Sony announced PlayStation Music, a new music service with Spotify. Spotify. Remember them? They protest for Spotify to take R. Kelly's songs out of rotation or out of the playlist to change the algorithm. Remember all that? So people can't tell me that this ain't no setup and that these labels have not been in. I mean, these labels are connected between Sony Music Entertainment and Universal Music Group. They are connected with just about every negative thing that has hit R. Kelly in the past 4 to 5 years. They're connected to it. They're connected to it. Lady Gaga, she comes out and she shuns R. Kelly's music and says that and apologizes for working with him. Takes the song that they did with each other out of rotation. Okay? Well, Lady Gaga is an artist for Interscope. Interscope is owned by Universal Music Group, the same Universal Music Group that owns most of R. Kelly's publishing. Why would they allow that? Celine Dion, CBS, Epic, Columbia, all those are owned by Sony Music Entertainment. She also apologized and took the song that she did with R. Kelly, well, that R. Kelly wrote for her, out of rotation. Why would Sony Music Entertainment allow that? The Pussycat Dolls, Interscope, owned by Universal Music Group. Same thing. Why would they allow that? Then you got John Legend. Now, John Legend is owned by both of these. He's pretty much a slave to both of these labels, allegedly. Because he's signed to Columbia, which is owned by Sony Music Entertainment. And then he's signed to Kanye's Good Music, Kanye West's Good Music, which is owned by Universal Music Group. So if you ask me, he had no choice in the matter. He probably was already hating on R. Kelly, allegedly. But when you got both of these conglomerate record companies pretty much owning your likeness and your brand and your pretty much your career, yeah, he had no choice but to go on Surviving R. Kelly, if you ask me. Neo, he's another one that has spoke out against R. Kelly, and which is real funny, because Neo, Motown, Def Jam, owned by Universal Music Group. But not only that, Neo, if you remember, sued R. Kelly in 2008 after he was removed off of R. Kelly's tour. He claimed that he was removed because R. Kelly was jealous and that R. Kelly knew that Neo was better than him. Wow. Neo hadn't even made it yet to stardom, really. And he claimed he was better than R. Kelly. Well, Neo, you're not better than R. Kelly now. So if you ask me, this has been calculated, everybody. They've known exactly who to go to make this play out in the court of public opinion. Because most people, the average person sitting at home watching the news, wouldn't know that Neo sued R. Kelly in 2008. They wouldn't know that. You know? Jennifer Hudson, Arista, Jay, RCA, Epic, all owned by Sony Music Entertainment. Sierra, Shownuff, LaFace, Jive, Epic, all owned by Sony Music Entertainment. All these artists have come out against R. Kelly, have apologized for working with R. Kelly, basically have condemned him as a guilty man in the court of public opinion. And all these artists are underneath those two labels, Sony Music Entertainment, either or. They're under either or. Either Sony Music Entertainment, who owns R. Kelly's masters, or they're under Universal Music Group, who owns most of R. Kelly's publishing. Now, why would these two major conglomerate record companies allow these other artists to talk about their artists and affect their bottom line? That's coming between their money. Why would they allow that? So if you ask me, everybody, it is obvious that this man has been they've attempted to bury this man, all because it's getting closer for them to have to give him his masters. It's almost time for them to have to give this man his masters. It's a shame, man. It really is a shame. Now, Sony Music Entertainment has clearly breached their contract with R. Kelly. They have violated the contract. That is obvious. That's obvious. And to be honest with you, everybody, I just want to know, what is MTV going to do after giving that Surviving R. Kelly docuseries an award? What are they going to do if R. Kelly is found innocent? How are they going to clear that up? That they gave a docuseries that they did not properly investigate and fact check an award for the world to see. How are they going to explain that? How is CBS going to explain themselves? How is CNN going to explain themselves for admitting that they watched a tape that they claimed was child pornography, that Michael Avenatti, who's now convicted, 2.5 years, brought to them instead of bringing to the authorities first, and they admitted to watching it? How are they going to explain themselves? How is the mainstream media going to explain themselves that they have put so much media bias on this man, condemning this man in the court of public opinion? I don't know. I don't know, everybody. But on that note, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you enjoy coming to this channel, subscribe. If you can, please share the video. It would be much appreciated. On that note, God bless you all. Have a good day.